All right, now that we've learned these chromatic notes, the dictionary, if you will, what we want to do is apply that to the guitar. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by learning those notes on the sixth string, and then we can apply it to the other strings as we go. Now, I'm going to caution you, though, don't be in a big hurry to try and memorize all the notes on your fretboard. Yes, you want to memorize the notes on your fretboard, but if you try and learn the notes on the sixth string and you don't really know them, and then you're trying to learn them on the fifth string and you don't really know those, and then you're trying to learn them on the fourth string, you're just going to wind up confusing yourself. Okay? So one thing that I would say is once I teach you how to do this, really spend quality time memorizing the notes on the sixth string to the point where it's second nature to you. You don't even think about it. Okay? Maybe you have somebody in your house that will quiz you on the notes, and I'll show you how to do this in a little bit as well. But if you have any apprehension of what these notes are or questions on what goes where or something like that, don't start trying to learn all the other strings until you are very, very sure, because you'll just wind up confusing yourself, and it's hard to get anywhere doing that. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started here. So the first thing we need to understand is when we pluck the sixth string, when we're tuned standard, the note that we're hearing is E. That note right there is an E string. We call it an E string. And the reason is the pitch that we're hearing is E. Now, every time we move up to another fret, we're playing one of those chromatic notes. Now, remember, unlike the piano, we don't have big white keys and little black keys. It doesn't work that way. Everything is uniform across the fretboard. So as I play this first note, that's E. The next note that I play is the next note in the chromatic sequence, which is not E sharp. Remember, there's no such thing as E sharp. B and E spells the word B. Those two notes do not get sharps, right? So this note is F. That's an F. So we're going from E to F. So in your mind, of course, you'd memorize that this note is E, and you'd memorize that the first fret of the sixth string is F. Just for the rest of your life. If you're going to play guitar, that note is F, and it just is. Okay? Let's go to the second fret. So if we move to the second fret, we're playing the note F sharp. Okay? Doesn't look any different than F other than the fact it's at the second fret. So sharps, secondary notes, and primary notes don't look any different on the guitar. Okay? So E, F, F sharp. Let's go to the next one. G comes after G. G sharp, right? What comes after G sharp? A, right? It starts all over again on A. It doesn't go to H or Q or L or something like that. It just starts all over on A. The guitar, instruments in general, do not care whether A is over there or A is over here. A is the beginning of our musical alphabet. A is not the beginning of, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. A is the beginning of our alphabet in our English language. Okay? A is not the beginning of the musical alphabet in context of performance. All the notes, and I always tell people, think of it as a circle. You're just making a circle. That's what you're doing. Okay? The notes just go on forever like a clock. Okay? 12 o'clock isn't any better than 2 o'clock, isn't any better than 6 o'clock unless it's getting off work or something like that, right? So the notes are the same way. So E is just as important as F, is just as important as A, right? They're all the same. So let's go through these notes. We have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and then E. Now what I want you to notice is when I get to the fret with the two dots, it's E all over again. I started on E, and when I get to the 12th fret, which has two dots, I'm on E again. That's an octave. That's why it has two dots. It's telling me I've gone the octave. So now the rest of the frets, all the way until I run out of frets, are just an octave of the first notes that I played. So if 0 was E, so is 12. If 1 was F, so is 13. If second fret was F sharp, so is 14. So you're going to notice that the dots down here line up with the dots up here. Now, you might have a dot on the first fret. You might not. You know, guitars are different that way. Heck, there's some guitars that don't have any fret dots at all, right? But the point is that what you need to do is start getting used to thinking about those notes, okay? Starting off in your mind, understanding the 12 notes, understanding that B and E don't get sharps, understanding enharmonics, right? Because if this is F and this is G, in between is F sharp or G flat. right there, F sharp or G flat. You can call it whatever you want, but it's sitting right there. Okay? Now, here's the trick I used to teach people all the time when I did a lot of private lessons, is when I first started teaching this stuff, I would teach it to a student, and then that student would go home, and then I would say, memorize those notes and come back the next week and we're going to quiz you. Okay? So the student would come back and I'd say, okay, find the note B. And they'd go, B. Okay, find the note D. And they would, count up until they got to D. And I was thinking in my head, how do I get this student not to count, but to know where those frets are? And what I did was I came up with an easier system, which I'm going to show you right now. What we're going to do is we're just going to talk about the primary notes. We're going to memorize the primary notes. And you're going to notice how much easier this is. So this is E. For the rest of your life, this note is E. Okay? And now you know, right? And you'll never forget, this is E, this is E. Just keep telling yourself, this is E. If you go to the first fret, this is F. And it just is, it's F. Now, your dots are going to come into play if you have dots on your guitar. The third fret is going to be G. So E, F, G, 0, 1, 3. E, F, G, 0, 1, 3. So if I was your sibling, or I was your parent, or I was whatever, right? Or I was, if you have a child, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could ask somebody, say, hey, ask me where the notes E, F, and G are in the guitar. And so somebody would say, where's G? You say 3. Where's F? You say 1. Where's E? You say 0. And they just go into whatever order. F, 1, G, 3, E, 0, G, 3. And you just say it. So you get used to thinking 0, 1, 3, E, F, G. Okay, both ways. E, F, G, 0, 1, 3. You get used to thinking about that. Okay, let's go to the next dot, which is the 5th fret. This is A. So we have E, F, G, A, 0, 1, 3, 5. E, F, G, A, 0, 1, 3, 5. Where's G? 3. Where's A? 5. Where's F? 1. Where's E? 0. Where's G? 3. Where's A? 5. Where's F? 1. Where's G? 3. Where's A? 5. Where's F? 1. Where's E? 0, right? Quickly be able to do that. So even if you could only do that much today, and you just learned E, F, G, A, but you really learned them, that's power. Because tomorrow we could learn the second half and you're done. In 2 days, you could learn how to do this. You see, it's pretty cool. So E, F, G, A. Let's go to the next dot. 7th fret is B. Okay, F, G, A, B. F, G, A, B. 1, 3, 5, 7. E is 0, of course. F, G, A, B. 1, 3, 5, 7. You memorize that. Somebody asks you, where's B? 7. Where's G? 3, right? Okay. Now, we're on B. B does not get a sharp. So C is located on a space, not a dot. The dots were not put on the guitar for the notes on the 6th string. The dots are just markers to help you to know where the frets are. That's all it is. Okay? So C is not on a dot. C is on a space. It's on the 8th fret. D is on the 10th fret. It's not a dot either. It's on a space. So C and D are on 8 and 10. They surround this dot, which is C sharp or D flat, depending on what you want to call it. Okay? Now, I used to do this, and I always tell this story, but when I was younger and I was teaching, I had a little girl that was learning how these notes, and I did this, and I was teaching her C and D, and she said, that looks like rabbit ears. So ever since then, I think about this as rabbit ears. C and D are rabbit ears. They surround C sharp. C and D are 8 and 10. So 1, 3, 5, 7, rabbit ears, 8 and 10. 1, 3, 5, 7, rabbit ears, 8 and 10. F, G, A, B, C and D. F, G, A, B, C and D. If you memorize those prime notes, you'll know your whole fretboard on the 6th string. And the same thing applies to the other strings, which we'll get to in just a little bit. Okay? So if D is at the 10th fret, well, of course, E is at the 12th fret, 1 octave higher. Right? 12th fret. So now you've got the power to have somebody help you to learn F, G, A, B, C, and D. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10. F, G, A, B, C, D. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10. So somebody could ask you, where's B? 7. Where's D? 10, right? Where's G? 3. Where's A? 5. Where's F? 1. Where's B? 7. Where's E? 0. You're making a connection in your mind too of visualizing these, where they are. F, G, A, B, C, and D. F, G, A, B, C, and D. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10. And don't forget about the fret numbers, okay? Because I've seen people too that will memorize their notes, but when somebody says the 15th fret, they got to count up to find the 15th fret. You want to memorize your fret numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10. Okay, F, G, A, B, C, and D. Now, the wonderful thing about this is once you've really memorized this, take 2 days and memorize these notes if you need to. Okay, don't worry about the secondary notes. Don't let them stress you out. Don't go, well, I really need to know those, because you know what? You already know them. Because if you know where F and G are, you know where F sharp and G flat are, because it's right in between there. If you know where C and D is, you know where C sharp and D flat is, because it's right in between there. So instead of stressing out initially trying to memorize all those, if you just memorize the primary notes, you're going to know where the secondary notes are. A sharp, B flat. It's lying right in between A and B. There it is. So you'll get used to it anyway. So that's a wonderful way of being able to memorize the notes on your 6th string.